Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And today, we really are going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about one of the most basic things that a business must have, and unfortunately, frequently doesn't do correctly. And so we'll talk about what that is in just a moment. But please join me in welcoming Kris Reid to our program today. Welcome, Kris.
I tell you, what a time to be alive, right? I'm coming to you from the other side of the planet.
I know.
Wednesday morning your time, Wednesday evening my time.
Yep.
It's time to be working online.
It's funny, you're in Saigon. I've interviewed people from around the world, but you are my first person in Vietnam that I have interviewed. So I love it. I love it. Well, before we jump in, let me tell people just a little bit about you. So as we know, the truth is most businesses fail. They don't fail because the entrepreneur isn't working hard enough, and they don't fail because they've got bad products or services. They fail simply because they can't get enough customers, which seems kind of obvious, but a lot of people don't quite get that. Our guest, Kris Reid, developed a simple system to get your message in front of your ideal customer to predictably grow your business. And that's exactly what he's going to share with us today. Kris has designed and implemented this simple system for people like world-renowned business author Mike Michalowicz. I probably said that wrong.
Mike Michalowicz.
That's it, Mike Michalowicz. The biggest business podcast on the planet, Entrepreneurs on Fire with John Lee Dumas, and Avery Carl, one of the top 100 realtors in the U.S. with sales of over 158 million in 2020. Holy cow, in 2020. This proven system is repeatable for any business in any industry. In fact, Kris is so confident in his system that he guarantees the results. So again, coming to us from Saigon, Vietnam, welcome to Kris Reid.
Oh, Deb, what an introduction.
I know. Such fun. Well, it's interesting. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and you are a Renaissance man. You're clearly, you have just a little bit of an accent that's not Vietnamese. So, you live in Saigon, you've worked and traveled around the world. I always love finding out how my guests got to where they are today and how you discovered what your passions in life are. So fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm not Saigonese. I'm from the land down under, Australia. I studied software engineering at university. Mm-hmm. And really, there's two ways to make money as a software engineer. You go move to Silicon Valley and work for some tech startup, or you sell your soul to the devil and work for a finance company. Mm-hmm. I took the finance route. I moved to London, the financial center of the world. Mm-hmm. And worked for some really big banks and got paid lots of money, and it was really great. I had Europe as my playground, and I was on top of the world up until 2008 came along, the global financial crisis. And man, the finance world, it took a tailspin.
Yeah,
and
when it crashed. It crashed.
Oh, it crashed really hard. And every job disappeared. And I was like, holy crap, my ego that had inflated to just as big as the bubble. I was like on top of the world. I can do no wrong. And then I was like, man, I can't get a job. I don't know what to do. I went back to Australia with my tail between my legs going, what am I going to do with my life? I was in my mid-20s and there was no jobs to be had. And so being a computer geek, I built an online game. And I didn't build it because I wanted to be in business or knew anything about business. I was just a geek. And I built this game, and I'm like, well, how the hell do you get people to a website to play that end?
It's a great game. We want people to play.
I built a bunch of backlinks to my website and get into what backlinks are, ranked it, got a lot of traffic, and I went, wow, this is a lot of fun. And so I started dabbling around with ranking websites. And before I knew it, someone told me, hey, that's probably useful for businesses. And so started doing it for businesses and been doing it ever since.
Cool. I love it. Well, how did you end up in Vietnam? I was just curious about that.
Yeah, so so as I was dabbling around with starting, to learn about my business, I ran out of money and I got a job back in Europe. I'd always worked professionally in Europe. And I'd been saving up some money to kind of start my business on the side. And I was working for Sony in Belgium, which was a really cool job. And I was working on my business on the weekends and after work and building up the cash flow. And we had a lot of Philippines employees. And I was like, well, I'm going to move to the Philippines. But I ended up traveling through Cambodia on the way, really liked Cambodia. Did move to the Philippines for a couple of years, then moved back to Cambodia and, visited Saigon a bunch of times and went, man, that's a really cool city. And, got here and now I've got the wife, got the kids, and I'm here to stay.
I love it. I love it. And what I love is that technology allows us to do all of this. We're clearly going to have a couple little glitches here and there, probably with our recording, but it's got to go 10,000 miles. And so, it's, and that's, I think, one of the things that we've really expanded on, anyhow, I have, at least, and the people I've talked to during the pandemic, is reaching out to people from around the world. And that's what is so cool about this technology, and not just things like Zoom, but we are really expanding our reach. And, and so as I was thinking about that and then thinking about what you do, I thought, this is absolutely perfect timing for this, because we want to expand. We think we've got this great product or service and we're still not having success. And so it is that little thing. I mean, your company name is Ardor SEO. And so we know, you're going to be talking about SEO.
Because I'm a thing.
Right. And so many people don't even understand it. And especially if they're a small business owner, because they don't have time. They think, oh my gosh, it's really complicated. Or they're an oldster like me that remembers when you were developing a site in HTML and you put in your keywords. And you did things like you put in your competitor's name, all of those things, because you were hoping that, if they typed Walmart, your site would show up, right? And so, that is, of course, what the issue is being found, so you've got your website. Now what? I mean, why, first of all, why do we care? Why, we've got our website, we've got a Facebook page. I love it when people tell me, oh, I don't have to have a website because I have a Facebook business page. And I tell them, oh, no.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I speak to lots of people all the time that have spent 20 grand on a website that generates no business.
Right.
And so why bother spending that much money? If you're not going to put any effort into it, then you might as well just have a Facebook page, because it's going to do the same amount of nothing. Yeah. Web designers, in my opinion, they generally don't understand marketing or sales at all, or really the purpose of websites. So they just take people's money. There's no way that you need to spend 20 grand on a website, because beautiful websites don't sell things. Words sell things. But people need to see those words for them to take any action. Just what you were talking about before about online presence. 2020 was a hell of a year, right? COVID just was savage to a lot of businesses. I was just reading an article the other day about two big retailers in Australia. One, which is called Harvey Norman, who has been just fighting on everyone online for years and going, we just hate the government needs to tax online businesses to help us local retailers. Right. And then there's this newer business called JB Hi-Fi, who does have a good online presence. They still have retail shops as well. Last year, they doubled their revenue.
Wow.
It's they had a bumper year. I don't know enough if they shut down any of their retail shops, but they doubled their revenue. And everyone knows Jeff Bezos, the amount of
there is that little company called Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Like having an online business, man, the best time to build your website was 10 years ago, but the second best time is right now.
Right.
Like to fuel that growth. But you need to understand it's not just building a website. You need to understand what your customers are searching for, how to get your message in front of where those people are actively looking for, and then actually get them to take action. Right. And when you get that recipe right, I mean, it sounds simple, but it's bloody tricky. Man, it's super valuable.
Right. And it's funny, you mentioned pretty websites. I go to a lot of websites, and everybody else probably goes to a lot of websites too. And there is nothing more frustrating than when I go and it's a pretty website. So it's got all the latest and greatest fancy whatevers. Thank God that we were finally dropping Flash. I hated those things, but it's whatever the theme is of, the trend, they're doing all of that. And I'll look at the entire first page, at least, and I don't have a clue what they sell. And that I think is the biggest problem. People are thinking, well, we have to have these pictures, we have to have this, we have to have that. But it's like you said, if people can't tell within the first probably 30 seconds, if even that long, what you sell, they're gone. I know, people are like me, I'm like squirrel, and so if I don't know right away what it is, I don't care how pretty the site is. I'm
in
gone.
The industry that's referred to as the grunt test. You want a caveman that can turn up at your website and easily understand what it is. Because generally, a bad business coach will say, oh, what's the biggest problem in your business? It's like, if you knew what it is, you'd fix it.
Right.
A good business coach will go and work out what that is. But most people don't know what their problems are. They're searching for the headache. They're searching for the pain that you solve.
Right.
So if they're typing into Google, how to fix a headache, and then your website turns up because that's the service that you provide. And so that's what it needs to say straight on your website. It doesn't need to say, hey, we've been in business 10 years and we've got this fancy office or whatever the hell. It needs to say, got a headache? We can fix it.
Right.
That's the simplest part of a website.
Right.
Then you need to have some simple, some other people that you've helped. Here's some examples of people that we've helped fix their headaches. Then if you want to, you can go into your credibility, but you want to make it really easy for people to do business with you and not usually book a call or buy my product. They're called call to actions, and those are usually too aggressive. What you want to do is have a lead magnet where someone can download something. So a good example, right, is e-commerce websites. Amazon converts at crazy rates because everyone knows and trusts Amazon. So if you're searching for a product and service on Google and Amazon comes up and you click on it, everyone knows Amazon. You're safe if you put your credit card details in there and you're going to get looked after. You go to another website, you don't know who they are. You don't know if they're reliable. You don't know if their credit card's secure or you're even going to get that product. So even if you like it, you might not buy it because you don't trust them. So it's crazy to ask someone, hey, buy my widget right now. Because online, it is a lot harder, right? Like if someone gives you bad customer service, you can't just slap them in the face.
Right.
They're not right there for you to yell at.
Yeah, they might be thousands of miles away.
They might disappear. Who knows? It might just be a whole fake website. It probably isn't, but there's still people have that mindset where, if someone searched, for a headache, right? And you've got a lead magnet, which how to fix headaches, and here's the five easy things that you can do at home to fix them yourself. People download your guide, they read it and they go, wow, this Deb, she knows what they're talking about. And then you've got, hey, you can do all this the hard way, or you can let us fix it for you by taking this little pill. And now people know and trust you. And so they're much more likely to go, yeah, sure, here's my money.
Right. Or they might go, okay, well, 4 of the 5 times I could do her tips and get rid of the headache. The 5th time, I do need that pill. So I'm going to contact Deb. It's so funny because, the hard sell, I mean, we just don't like it. Here in the States, we call them snake oil salesmen or used car salesmen, right? They pounce on you the second you walk in the place. And and like with snake oil, you're wondering what the heck am I taking? I mean, I'm really showing my age with that reference, but it is something where we have to build that relationship with people. I work a lot with people on LinkedIn, and what drives me nuts is when I connect with somebody on LinkedIn, and usually I'm responding to them, and they immediately respond. So clearly they've got it automated with a buy from me type of thing. I know nothing about them. I'm certainly not going to spend my money with them. And unfortunately, because it's automated, it doesn't do things correctly. I had one the other day where this woman, I connected with her, and her little automated sales pitch was not real hard sell. It was actually fairly nice. And it was interesting. It piqued my interest. And so I replied and I said, I'd love to talk about this some more. How do we proceed? Over a week went by, and I got a response from her yesterday. And the response was, sounds good. What do you want to talk about? And it was like, oh, you contacted me, and so I, of course, just didn't even respond, and that's the thing is, she started to build that relationship and then crushed it, and so that's also the website. I mean, what are you delivering on what you promise? All of these various things.
So really, like what your website should be about is capturing leads. That's the whole purpose of a website. It's not really to get people to buy things, especially if you're like in a service-based business. Right. You want to capture that lead. So if you can give someone some free information on why you're good in exchange for their email, then they download it and they think you're great. Then you put them into what's called a nurture campaign. And this is where you start emailing them. So like we work with a lot of syndication companies. So like they'll have a multifamily project that they need to raise money for or something, and they're asking people for $50,000 a minimum, and so it's pretty hard to have a buy now button on the website.
Right. Yeah.
You can like, a great keyword for them, right, is like how to invest $50,000, because you can be pretty sure that someone is searching how to invest $50,000 has 50 grand that they want to invest.
Right.
So they come to the website and you've got a few different ways that you can do it. And a great lead magnet can be, what's the 5 biggest mistakes people make when getting into investing? And so people download it and they go, wow, Deb really knows what she's talking about. And then you have what's called a nurture campaign. And so you email them and go, hey, listen to me on this podcast, watch this YouTube video, here's a book I read, whatever, that builds up your authority. And then they keep seeing this and they say, wow, Deb's been on a podcast. Wow, she has her own podcast. Oh, she's got a book. Wow, she's amazing. And then by the time you go, hey, do you want to book in a call? This person already sees you as a big authority. They understand what you do. Then by the time they book in that call, they're not going to miss it. Right. And they're already pre-sold. So you're saving your time that back when, I remember when we weren't very good at digital marketing, we didn't have as advanced sales funnels as we do. And I'd get sales calls all the time that just wouldn't turn up. And it's like, well, this is fun. You end up, because that hour's booked out now and no one was there, and they're crappy leads. And then even the ones that you do have, they don't convert as well because they're not that good. My calendar is really full, and I'm only speaking to people that, have proactively sought us out and we've filtered through. So I'm not wasting my time that people aren't a good fit for us as well. Right. So like that's the power of having a powerful website that gets your message in front of the right people and then filters them out too, so that you're only speaking to your ideal customer. Right.
And I talk about this a lot on the program, and we absolutely have to figure out who our ideal customer is. It used to be that, you just put your message out there and you hope the right person found it. And I shouldn't say used to be, it still is for many companies and many businesses. Or my favorite is if I say, hey, Kris, who's your ideal market? And you look at me and you go, everyone. No, it's not. And of course, that's very difficult for a business owner, especially when they're starting out, because they want the money, and so they think, well, the more people that hear my message and see my product, see my service, the better it will be. But again, there's so much waste. Why go after 10,000 that aren't going to do anything when you could focus on 100? And and of course that's a scary thought for people. They're like, but I like the 10,000.
Yeah.
So
a good example of that is, and this is really important in messaging on your website, right? So one of our clients, who's a painter, does all sorts of house painting, right? So on their painting page, they had about indoor painting, outdoor painting, and fence painting, and so it was quite a long page with all of their services, with fence painting at the bottom. And so, say if you're searching fence painter near me, and he turns up, and you land on that page, like you'll see indoor painting, outdoor painting, and
you went nope.
You didn't see fence painting because you didn't bother scrolling all the way to the bottom. Where if you split those up into different services, then the person that's searching fence painting turns on the fence painting page, and that message resonates directly with them. They can see that's exactly what I'm looking for. Right. It's going to convert so much higher. So like that's really important with the website, is to niche it down, get pages that whatever your services are, split them down as much as you can to make them unique for every different type of customer that you have.
Right. And let's be honest. I mean, when you can buy a domain name for pennies compared to what we used to have to pay for them, you can have multiple websites, at least for a landing page, that gets that one. And then, maybe you filter them to the bigger site, but it's so easy anymher to be able to hit
Deb, one thing on that, like a landing page depends on your traffic source, right?
True.
So like there's a really great tool called ClickFunnels by Russell Brunson, has a massive book called .com Secrets, and ClickFunnels is awesome. But you need to get traffic to that funnel. Right. It's about how to filter things. It's awesome, but it's designed to be used with paid traffic. Sorry, my kids screaming in the background. It's bedtime, they're resisting. But you have to buy traffic, whether it's through Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads or whatever. You buy traffic to it. Right. With SEO, like you need to build up authority, because like anyone can write any crap they want on the internet, right? And how does Google know if they can trust you or not? Right. The reason why Google dominated, back in the 90s, for any older listeners, you probably remember there was a host of other search engines, Excite, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, there's all these other search engines. And Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, he was at university at the time and went, these search engines suck. But there needs to be a better way to organize, the internet. And the internet was very small compared to what it is today. And so he surmised, if you write a thesis and other people reference your thesis, well, your thesis must be really good. Right. And well, if you've got a website and everyone else references your website, links to your website, well, it must be really good and really credible. And so that's called a backlink, someone linking back to you. And that's the secret of how Google works. The more backlinks you have, the bigger your domain authority and the better you're going to rank for anything. So really, the more domains you have, the harder it's going to be. Like, right, because you just Google, you diluted it. You're diluting it. You break out, like Google and Amazon, they have different domains for every country. They also have like infinite budgets too. Right. So if you're a small business, then I really highly recommend sticking to one single domain. Can I just read a headline of an article for you? Sure. So there's this fabulous SEO tool called Ahrefs. So if anyone knows HTML, Ahref is the HTML tag for a backlink. Right. So it's a bit of geek humor. But this article is 90.63% of content gets no traffic from Google. So that's over 90% of content gets no traffic from Google. And they break it down really, really detailed. Only 0.21% of content, so way less than 1%, gets over 1,000 visitors a month. So like almost none. They analyze 2 billion pieces of content here too. So a good chunk of the internet. And the article, if you're a super geek, is really interesting. If you're not, then spoiler alert, the number one reason that your page doesn't get any content is that it doesn't have any backlinks. If no one is linking to your content, then Google doesn't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if no one's linking to your website, Google's not going to rank it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the secret to ranking in Google.
I love it. Well, okay. So Kris, you give that stat, 90% is a waste is basically it. So I'm sure there were a lot of people who just went, oh, then why should I waste my time at all? And so what do you tell those folks?
So Larry Page, he's a pretty smart guy, right? And he once said, revenue cures all problems. Yeah. And I tell you, I might be the best businessman in the world, but we got plenty of revenue coming in. We got 2 new customers today. Just before I got on the call with you, we got our second one. I was like, yeah, that's a nice spend of the day. Mm-hmm. Like when you got a rapidly growing business, and revenue keep increasing, mm-hmm. like it takes away all the other stress. You can mm-hmm. screw up everything. And I'm a really bad businessman. I had HR steal like 30 grand one time. Like we've done, you name any mm-hmm. stupid thing, I've done it. Mm-hmm. But we got revenue to cure all problems. And having a website that can generate you all the leads you need and predictable revenue, mm-hmm. like it, we can't grow at an exponential rate, right? Mm-hmm. Like the more clients we get, we have to train more staff, mm-hmm. and we need to grow at a consistent rate. That's a crappy business model. I wish we had some sort of model where we didn't have mm-hmm. to keep hiring staff, because our team is massive and it's a headache. But it's still great to be able to have that predictability mm-hmm. in, and we get that. That's the beauty of digital marketing. Mm-hmm. Any form of digital marketing, whether it's SEO or AdWords or Facebook advertising, you can really accurately measure exactly, what's your cost per click, or how much traffic do you need? What are your conversion rate? How many leads do you mm-hmm. need? And how many customers do you want? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a simple thing. Like mm-hmm. often when I'm first speaking to one of our new clients, I'll say that to them, like, what's success look like for you? What do you want? Like, more customers? Well, how many more? Because mm-hmm. if you want 10 a month or 100 a month mm-hmm. or 1,000 a month, right. well, it's a different amount of work. Mm-hmm. And, the internet is so big that our little human brains can't fathom it. Mm-hmm. There's so much search volume and so many customers out there. You can have as many as you want. Mm-hmm. We can bring them to you. It's then your problem to try and service them, which is
right.
Nice
and that is, of course, the key is you have to know, okay, if I get 100 new customers this month, can we provide the product or service? Yeah.
Yep. Just a little bit of bragging. One of our clients who sells fancy dog coats, like some of their coats are like $5,000 dog coats. I'm like, who the hell is these dog coats?
And that's when the dog goes out and rolls in the unmentionables. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they sell other people's stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And one of the dog carriers that they sell, they were selling so many of them mm-hmm. that the manufacturer contacted us, and they found out that we're doing their website, and they mm-hmm. said they're selling more of our dog carriers than we are.
Why?
They're doing their money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the power of a good website.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, one of the things that, when we were actually going and networking and meeting people in person, all those various things, I would still have people that would say, I'm a small business. Why do I even need a website? And a lot of those are, maybe what we would consider blue collar. So maybe a landscaper, or you mentioned a house painter, or maybe it's somebody who has, say, a restaurant. What do you tell people? I mean, do they really need a website?
So my wife owns a restaurant. She just opened one just recently across the road. And
during a pandemic. Good for her.
It's like, Jesus, lady. And even in Vietnam, it's like, holy crap, when I see how expensive it is to open a restaurant, I'm like,
oh yeah,
build a website, lady. It's so much cheaper. But like we live in the suburbs, and people that go to the restaurant are local people that live around here. But there is a little bit of search volume. Like most people know restaurants. Like you go to the same places all the time when you're in your suburb.
Yeah, you've driven by it or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But the limited amount of people that are actually searching for that restaurant in our area, like that's super valuable. Mm-hmm. Like how you need to work out what is your cost per acquisition for a customer? What can you afford? Mm-hmm. Like you imagine, say the average meal is $20 and half of it's profit. So it's $10. Like, but that person might come twice a month for even just say a year. That's 24 meals a year at $10, that's $240. How much could you spend to bring that person in? Maybe even $20 or $30. So you didn't make any money, the first time they sat down for me, but by 2 or 3, they do. And when you're a brand new restaurant too, like that person enjoys their experience and they go and tell their friends.
Right.
Like,
that good old word of mouth advertising.
Exactly. But you need someone to get the word first, So like, even with, a restaurant, it's super valuable. Like it gets your growth happening a lot faster.
Right. Well, and I always tell people, it shows that you take your business seriously. It's I always love it when, somebody hands me their business card or, I track them down, right? I haven't been to a networking thing in a year. This is just so bizarre. But, when you get somebody's contact information and it's not a business email address,
at gmail.com
or AOL. I had an AOL one the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now my mother uses, and of course we reroute. I mean, I have a Gmail account. It's how I run my calendar. I mean, all these various things. I mean, these things exist, but when that's your primary business URL, to me, it shows you don't take your business seriously. And it would be the same thing as if I called their business number and it was clearly a personal cell phone. It's like not, show that you take your business seriously. We were trying to get something done around that. We were trying to get some trees cut. We live in Atlanta, but there's lots of trees around here, and we had some that one had actually already was kind of touching the house, so it needed to come down, and we didn't want to do that ourselves. So I go on Facebook, right? And, because I didn't, Google was just, I did my search on Facebook and I said, hey, friends, in this area, who would you recommend? I've got 4 names, 3 of them you call, get very professional. The 4th one you call and you get the wife's cell phone. And, and she's actually the scheduler. And I mean, it's a small business and all of these various things. But, I tell people, there is this very cool thing called Google Voice, where you can get a free telephone. You can get tons of telephone numbers, and it routes into your cell phone. So, that can have that professional business voicemail message on it. So do that. There's ways to be frugal in this day and age, but
use a Google Voice number from all the way in Vietnam.
Oh yeah. My cell phone is my business number, and it's still my Colorado number. I mean, I've had it for since before cell phones existed, it seems like. And so I wasn't going to change when we moved to Atlanta. So I have a Google Voice number that's local down here. But of course, the funny thing is people don't care. I mean, anymore, they just dial. They're not looking at where the number is. But a website, even if it's just a basic 1-page website, shows that you take your business seriously. And to me, that's worth it right there, because that is what people do. If we need a new service, a new product, we go typically to Google, and that's where we're looking for it. And for one thing, if you're, like you said, if you're not there, okay, then you don't exist.
The author, you mispronounced his name at the start. He hates that. I'm going to have to mention that to him.
I know. Oh,
Mike Michalowicz. He's a pretty famous author that has a bunch of really great books, and books that'll change your business. One is called Profit First, which is about how to have a profitable business. And man, like, I actually use a Profit First accountant that helps us, keeps our books in order and makes sure we're always profitable. And what the hell are you bothering doing any business if you're not profitable? And his other book is called Clockwork, which is about how to build a business that doesn't revolve around you. And man, like, it's a really great book, because most business owners, they build themselves a job. And I remember when we were a much smaller business, that was me. And we weren't a very profitable business either. And I'm like, this is a crappy job. I used to be a software engineer. I used to live in Europe and have Europe as my playground. I used to get paid lots of money and have lots of holidays and lots of fun. And now I work all the time, get paid crap, and can never take a holiday and can never leave. And it's really, a lot of business owners, I'm sure, have been there, and it sucks. and you just work all the time, you're stressed. And I went through the clockwork system. That's how I even got to know Mike Michalowicz. And you're building strategies that don't revolve around you, and you shouldn't do everything yourself. It's just like you hired a professional to cut down a tree, right? I hired an accountant to do our books. Look, if you aren't a professional, why the hell would you build yourself a website and try and rank it? Like, it's a lot of work. Like what you should do is speak to a professional and have them guide you. Same if you're running Facebook ads. In fact, we're running a summit at the moment. I hired a Facebook agency to run our Facebook ads. It's not what we do. Like, it's really, really hard to get Facebook ads right. The people that are good at it make lots of money. The people that aren't waste lots of money. Right. Which side of the fence do you want to be on? So I'd really highly recommend that with any business decision. If it's not your core business, don't hire someone else that does.
I do the 15-minute rule. If it's going to take me more than 15 minutes, then I and isn't that, that core thing, then I should hire it done. Now, there are something like, I like tinkering with my website. I like doing things like that. And so I will spend more than 15 minutes just because it's something that I enjoy doing. But then, of course, I do have the person that when I break my website, it's like, okay, now just killed too many brain cells. Here's who I need to go to fix it. But yeah, we hire those experts in our personal life to do those things, so we need to hire the experts in our professional life too, even if it's just because things change so rapidly, and we're supposed to be focusing on whatever it is that we're doing. We shouldn't be having to focus on now, is it penguin? Is it hummingbird? What's the latest algorithm that Google has? I mean, I don't care. And I shouldn't have to know that, that's why you hire it done.
For sure. In fact, I just started working with a business coach who specializes in consulting, digital firms. Because it's like I'm not the world's most gifted businessman. Like, I want to have someone that has more experience and can guide me and, teach me what to do. And one of the things that he focused on too is like, make sure that you're doing what makes the company money, not doing anything else, keeping your people most efficient. And if you're having people like, even with accounts, right? Like we could do our own accounts. It'd probably end up costing us more, and it wouldn't be done as well. And it just takes more time away from me doing what I can do, which is going to help the business thrive a lot better.
Right. So we've got a good website. We've got great SEO, but then, let's go deeper into this. We've talked about building that relationship and things. How do we really get someone to actually say, hey, Kris, I want to do business with you? How do we, we got their attention, and we've kind of built that relationship, but how do we get them to write that check or hand us that credit card?
So the very first thing with websites, and this is where web designers suck, is they don't start with keyword research. You need to understand what your customers are searching for. Okay. And that might sound easy, but you really need to deep dive in all of your products and services and informational type keywords. So like a good example is actually our client, John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire. He kind of got a little bit lucky. He started podcasting before it was cool. Right. So it wasn't very competitive back then. And his website, it was in really bad nick when we started working on it, because it just put crap on crap on crap. And over the years, it was just this giant mess. And one of his biggest affiliate programs is how to start a podcast. And he was making a lot of money from teaching people how to start a podcast. And so he built more content about how to start a podcast, which you'd think would be a good idea. Right, makes sense. He ended up with what's called keyword cannibalization. And so he ended up with 4 pages that were all about how to start a podcast, and Google's not sure which one should rank. And so they start competing with each other, and then none of them rank. Right. And he ended up losing so much money from that. Right. So because the site that had just one bumped up a bit ahead of him. Well, no, because he had 4 pages on his website that were all targeting the same keyword. Right. And people just, it was really strong keyword mapping, really nice site structure where you strong categories and subcategories. So if you think about Amazon, right? it's amazon.com/movies/music/fashion. Then under fashion, men's and women's, and then summer and autumn. And so it's in the URL string, it's really, really clear. So then you've got your main keywords around products and services, but then you need also informational type keywords. So a good example of that is one of our realtors that is actually in Atlanta. She sells luxury real estate in Atlanta. And so you can only have one page that is targeting luxury real estate in Atlanta. Buckhead, I believe, is another suburb in Atlanta.
Yep, and it is
check out
more luxury high end.
There you go. I've never been there myself. I've just seen her website. But she can only have one page that targets Buckhead. So we then want to put informational content on her website, about what's the crime rate in Atlanta, what's the best schools in Atlanta, how to relocate to Atlanta. Because that is exactly what someone that's moving to Atlanta is going to be searching for. That's inadvertently, when you move to Atlanta, well, you probably want a house, right?
Right.
And so that's one way to grab that person as a visitor and then move them to your money page. But the main purpose of that is to build up your relevancy. So like, as we were talking about backlinks before, internal links are just as important. So nothing works in isolation. You can't just, if you're a realtor, you can't just have a page about lawyers and it's not going to rank because your website's not about lawyers. So why would that page rank? You need to have all the content. So Google reads whatever that page is about, plus it looks at all of the other pages on your website and who's linking to it. The more internal links you have on your website to one page, the more important that page is as well. And the less deep it is in the site structure. So internal links and backlinks are super, super important because that's how Google gets the context of what that page is about and how it should rank.
Right. Well, and Google then knows.
Sorry if I get a little bit technical.
Oh, that's fine. And it just goes to show that this is a complicated process. And it was funny when you were talking about keywords. This is not the time to be cute. I was looking at somebody's LinkedIn page the other day, and they own their business, but their job title, where most people would have president, founder, CEO, whatever, was happy entertainment connector. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? And they, for one thing, most people don't even care about titles anymore. But at the same point, you have to look at it and know what it is. If you're going to say Amazon and you're looking for movies, you don't want to see theatrical blockbuster. Wait, I want to see movies. In there it can talk about these are theatrical blockbusters, but it needs to obviously be country specific, because a movie for us is cinema for somebody else, right? And so depending on where you're doing business, you might need to have those various things. But it's keywords are not the time to be cute or to have jargon. How many times
jargon certainly confuses people in terms of way.
Or acronyms. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're the what? I just want to know that you can fix my plumbing. And
that's why a name like Johnny's Plumbing is a good good name. That's why our business is called Ardor SEO. It says on it exactly what we do. And for those that don't know what Ardor means, it means to do something with a fiery passion.
Right, passion.
Adjective,
Right. And it's I joked at that we used to do keywords and you hid them. I mean, they were coded into it and you did these keywords and yada yada yada. And you put your competitors' names, you put your own name, you put misspellings of your own name. I mean, all these various things in there. And of course,
that's called black hat SEO, Deb. You're in trouble.
I know. And of course, Google figured out very quickly that people were doing that because, and you got blackballed. I mean, and so because I had clients who said, I want you to put my competitors' names in there. And I'm like, no, and especially hiding it. I mean, if you were putting it in the text and saying something like, just like X company, we do whatever. Now, you never really want to remind them about your competitors. But
there's a fabulous book by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. where it talks about like really how long is business for? It's not for this quarter or this year, it's forever. It's for infinite. You know, and when I was really, it's a beautiful book and it really changes your mindset, you know, and you know, like there's one day that Google's not going to exist, and I'd like my company to exist longer than that, you know, and hopefully it will. And you know, so our job is really not particularly search engine optimization. It's getting our clients more clients, helping them grow their business. At the moment, we use SEO as that medium. You know, in 10 or 20 or 100 years, it may be something different. Who knows? But you want to keep that in mind. And when you have that mindset, like investing in your business, investing in your website, it's like, it just makes perfect sense, because it's like the internet is just going to get more prevalent in all of our lives. In 10 years time, the internet is going to like dwarf what it is today, and it'll blow our minds that we go, man, we looked at the dark ages back in 2021. Yeah. And so it's like, and trying to like, you know, be sneaky and do like black hat tactics or something that, you know, is going to get you a penalty in term from like Google has the best software engineers on the planet and an army of them. You know, if you do something that to cheat Google, it might work for a little while, but eventually they're going to find out. And why bother doing it? Because they're going to smack down your business and everything you've done is for nothing. Like I think it was Warren Buffett that said, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and minutes to destroy it. You know, like, and that's the same with building up a website and SEO.
Right. Yeah. And then of course, the other thing is you have to keep updating because things update. You know, it's funny, you were talking about, you know, 10 years from now, I mean, more than likely we're going to be doing things like, you know, talking into our watch, which we can already do. And you know, be doing search there, you know, the screen will just pop up on like, you know, maybe your glasses or, you know, all these various things. And so if you haven't updated your website to be doing all this, so to be, say, voice responsive, I'm making these things up, you know, that's the other thing is, you know, so it's not just, hey, you know, the cool thing is to put the big pretty picture with the text overlying that covers the whole screen. That doesn't matter. You know, it's the other stuff that you need to do and keep it current. You know, I've still, I laughed a little bit ago about Flash. I hated Flash websites. I especially hated them, the autoplay ones when you know, when you lived in cubicle land and you lit on somebody's website and it blasted everything. You know, when I still go to websites that use either an old layout or, you know, old technology, things like that, the first thing I think is, are they even still in business? You know, and or if I've seen a website and I can tell that they really just haven't updated it. I mean, you know, something as simple as, you know, if they're referring to, you know, last year, and it's clear that last year was not 2020. You know, I wonder, are they still in business? And it's just like, you know, if it doesn't capture my attention quickly, same thing. I'm on to the next thing. I'm not going to investigate to see if they're still in business. I just go to the next one that I know is in business.
For sure. And so, yeah, like, but what you're talking about there also is like Google, you know, Google constantly updates their algorithms. But the things that they're looking for is a good website, and that has never changed. They're getting better at detecting the crap ones and filtering them out. So like really what they're looking for is Google can read the content on your website, they can see the length and they can see the quality. So they want to make sure that it's good quality content. Obviously that you have an authority and you know what you're talking about, and they do that by backlinks that we already spoke about. And then they want to make sure that you have a good user experience, you know, that your site loads fast, there's no broken links, that all the images, you know, load well. You know, the faster your site is, the better. And those are the things that Google are looking for mainly. And if you provide that, it's what they're always going to look for. It's not going to change. Right. That you're providing a good, safe user experience. You know, that you have a SSL certificate. That if you've got, you know, a credit card facility on your website, that it's secure. You know, and like, don't try and game the system. Provide that good user experience, and your website's going to empower your business growth for for as long as websites are around.
So how do we plan on developing, this predictable, stable growth? Because that's the key. We want to be stable. And of course, the pandemic totally threw everybody. But the interesting thing was the companies that not only survived, but thrived and grew. And so how do we do all of this so that we have predictable, stable growth?
Yeah, well, I tell you, like 2020 was our best year ever. And
Oh yeah, because people went, oh my God, I better make my website work, right?
Yeah, and last quarter beat every quarter of last year, and we're already up from last quarter. Like this COVID is terrible that it's hurting people, but I tell you, it has never been a better time to work in digital marketing. Yeah, the pandemic can go on for a little bit longer.
Yeah. You got some more bills you got to pay off, right? You want to buy a house, need to buy a third or fourth home, right?
But I tell you what, if people want to see what a fantastic sales funnel looks like, this is what you need on your website. If you go to our website, which is Ardor SEO, if you can't tell from my funny accent, it's spelled ARDOR, Ardor SEO /Power Hour. And if you go there, you'll see what a sales funnel looks like. It's got a great lead magnet. You put in your details, and I'll personally do a video review of your market and your website. So I'll show you exactly how many people are searching for your products and services every month, and show you some simple things that you can change yourself on your website to get your message in front of where these people are actively looking to predictably grow your business. So that's ardorseo.com /power hour.
Cool. I love it.
Don't go there yet, Deb, because I haven't set up that.
Which I did. I just typed it and I was going, oh no. But I thought, yeah, you haven't set that up yet. So, but yeah, I mean, it is one of those, I mean, we talked about the fact that you should hire an expert and things like that. But as the business owner, you have to know at least a little bit of the basics, because if we don't know the right questions to ask, that's the tricky part, so it's not just that we're saying, hey, somebody else go and do it. We need to know the basics. I remember, years ago when I was in school.
Anyone who goes to that URL, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what does success look like to you?
Right.
Where do you want to be in 12 months? How many customers do you want? And you need to come up with that. I can't help you with that.
Right. And yeah, it's, and so what it does is it makes a team, we have to be, we're providing teamwork. But, I remember years ago, I was in, getting my master's degree, and it was a required curriculum. We had no electives. It was something that was very specific. And one of the classes I had to take was video production. That was cool. It was fun. But to me, it was a waste of time. I knew that was not something. And of course, this was long enough ago that it was the studio. It was 900 buttons, dials, all these various things. Whereas now, you can do it on your smartphone. But, and I remember, little me, I raised my hand in class, and I said to the professor, this is not something I'm ever going to do. Why do I need to do this? Kind of like the same question we asked with algebra, right? I'm never going to have to do algebra. Why do I have to do it? And his response was, because I might hire someone to do it, and I need to at least know the basics so that I can ask the right questions. And so that's where it's great. I mean, you've got great resources on your website, all these various things that are going to help people to know what questions they have to ask.
Yeah. I mean, there's some truth in that too. But I tell you, a fabulous book that I read by, I believe the author's name is Perry Marshall. It's called 80-20 Sales and Marketing. And he has this, it's a great book, and it revolutionized my business in one reason, because he's got one chapter about the power of guarantees. And it basically says, like, in every transaction, someone's taking the risk. And if you can take that risk away from your client by offering a guarantee, it just makes the transaction so much smoother. And I tell you, as soon as we started offering guarantees, because it's a science, right? You do what we do. You follow this process, and works every time. And so we guarantee our results. I tell you what, like, as soon as we start doing that, it's just sales go through the roof. And I'm like, why not? And we're like, and it works better for us too, because it gives us total control. Right. Because it's part of our guarantee. You hired us to be experts. You have to let us do what we said we'll do to your website. You can't like argue with us. And we do it, and we get total control, and we give them what they want. And it makes everyone's life a whole lot easier.
Right. And it is about that teamwork. If they're not providing you with the information you need, then you can't do your part either. It's kind of like if you go to the doctor and you don't tell them I've had this pain in my shoulder, they're probably not going to diagnose what the problem is with the pain in your shoulder.
So usually when we're working on someone's campaign and website, we just assume that we're going to do everything. We say to them, look, you can be as involved if you want, you can write content if you want, but we're just going to assume that you're not going to do it.
Because you're busy. You're supposed to be doing your other stuff.
As the business grows, you're just not going to have time. Like at the start, you mentioned Avery Carl. She is one of our favorite clients. In 2019, she did $53 million in sales. Wow. In 2020, she did $158 million. Wow. It's like, that's some pretty
in real estate in 2020.
And she had a baby. Like, what a year. She's a really inspiring woman. She's super awesome. And, do you think she has time to talk to us? Like, never. We just do all of her stuff for her, and that's exactly what she likes. She focuses on what she's good at, and we do what we're good at.
Right. I love it. Well, oh my gosh, Kris, we are almost at the top of the hour. So tell people, we've said it's ardourseo.com, but tell people just a little bit more about exactly how you work with folks.
Yeah. So, through the sales funnel that I mentioned earlier, ardourseo.com/power hour, that's the best way to get an idea of how we work. We'll show you how, show you exactly what your market is, how many people are searching for your products and services, and how to get in front of them. And then hopefully you like what we tell you there, and then we'll build a strategy for you to show you this is exactly what you need to do to get your website in front of those people and get them to convert. Because we don't really want to focus on search engine rankings or traffic, because at the end of the day, who gives a crap? It's how many customers pop out the other end that matter. Because if you don't make money, you're not going to stick around with us.
Right.
So our goal is to make you as much money as we can, so that you this time next year, you're going to go, Kris, can I spend more money with you? And I'll say, Deb, yes, you can.
Sure. Yes, you can. I love it. And how do people find and connect with you?
So you can go to Google and you can type in the coolest guy in SEO. And I tell you, if you don't see my face, then Google is broken.
Okay. Wait a minute. So I'm typing coolest guy.
Coolest guy in SEO.
There you are. You are the top one. I love it. That is so fun. I love it. But yeah, it really did. And, and a lot of times Google does, I know that it likes to do location based, so, but yeah, it found you and we're thousands and thousands of miles apart.
It's got my name. It's got my picture.
Yep. And it's Kris, Kris, folks. So type in Kris Reid and there he is. And it really does say, meet Kris Reid, the coolest guy in SEO. Now, clearly, what you're doing right there.
Thank you, Deb.
Talk about proof that, that this works. So perfect. I love it. Well, Kris, we really do have just only a couple of minutes left. So are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave everyone with?
Yeah, if you actually knew how valuable it is having a powerful website to drive your business forward, like you'd be kicking yourself that didn't do this years ago. Like seriously, it takes away all of the stress of business. You don't have to, you can screw up everything else. Like just last month, our payroll accidentally sent $5,000 to someone, and we lost $5,000.
Bonus.
It sucks that we lost $5,000, but it's like, well, yeah, we're not going to go out of business. Like, it's nice not to have that problem. Yeah, I'd still prefer not to have lost $5,000, but I'm a little bit mad at the girl that did it. But but like when you got predictable revenue coming in, like I didn't lose sleep at night over it. Like it's crap, but crap happens. Like it takes away all of the stress and. No one wants stress in their lives. It makes business fun again. So get your website fixed and build predictable revenue.
I love it. I love it. Well, I've been having just the most fun conversation with Kris Reid of Arter SEO. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.